Welcome to Notebook, a program of interest to the St. Lucie County community that features information about St. Lucie County schools. Guests include school district and community leaders with focus on children in our community.
Hello and welcome to a new edition of Notebook. This is a show where we connect you with community officials, school district personnel, and other organizations from around the Treasure Coast. And today, I am very excited, as always, to bring this show to you with some very special guests, especially during this time as we approach the holiday seasons. This is a great opportunity for us to share with some of our families who may be in a not so easy place during the holidays, and we want to talk about this great program that was initiated here just a few years ago in St. Lucie Public Schools, and it's just growing in leaps and bounds, and we are very excited about what this program is doing for our kids here in St. Lucie County. So without any further ado, we want to introduce to you our two guests today. This is Lucie Ferrick, who is one of our food managers, the food field managers for food service for the St. Lucie Public School District. And I know we were just talking about the different projects that we do, getting ready before we know it. It's going to be summer. We're going to be working with summer school. And we had you on the show last year about this time, and it just doesn't seem like it's even possible that it's a year's gone by already. So, but anxious to hear all the great things that have happened in this last year. I know this program is just growing by leaps and bounds. So we'll get to that here in just a second. And then we want to also welcome Kim Lorenzado. Hopefully I didn't botch that up.
No, that was perfect.
And Kim is here, and thank you so much for stepping in and being a part of this show today. And so excited to hear the element that you've brought into this. And we really want to, parents especially, to see what you have taken on and made a difference at your daughter's school. We're going to touch on that here in just a minute. But just as a parent and a community member, what you have taken the initiative to be a part of this program too. So I'm anxious to get to that here in just a second.
Thank you.
But before we do that, I always like to start the show just to give our viewers a chance to find out a little bit about you and what you do, how you came into the position that you're holding now. Lisa's in the school district. Tell us a little bit too about your background, even as a teacher. But Lisa, let's start with you and how. Tell us a little bit about what you're doing now currently in your job, and then how you got involved in the Grace Pack.
Okay, I'm a field manager now. I've been a field manager for 4 years. Previous to that, I was the cafeteria manager for 18 years, all in St. Lucie County. How we got into Grace Packs, I was the manager at Oak-Hammock, and that's where Laura Klosterman was a teacher. She was an ESE teacher. And the story's kind of cool. I love the story because the year before, I had gone on a tour at the Treasure Coast Food Bank because my passion is feeding children. That's why I was such a great cafeteria manager. So my passion is cooking and feeding children. So I went on the tour for the Treasure Coast Food Bank, and because they have the Backpack for Buddies. So I'm like, oh, this would be so cool if I could get that into my school. But at the time, Oak-Hammock didn't qualify. You have to have a certain percentage of free and reduced, and at that time we just didn't qualify. So it kind of fell to the wayside. So it was the first day of school the next year, and I was at my desk just writing notes, what I had to accomplish that week, and I wrote Backpack for Buddies. So I wanted to contact the Treasure Coast Food Bank to see if their qualifications have changed in any way, to see if I could get that into the school. And lo and behold, here comes Laura. I never met her before. It was just God just sending her down to me, and she's like, introduced herself, and she said, this is what I envisioned, this is what's in my heart. And I said, I got to show you what I just wrote on my desk.
Wow.
And she was talking to me about Grace Packs, and I say, see, I just wrote Backpack for Buddies. So that was in 2011. We've been inseparable since. We started the Grace Pack program at Oak-Hammock with, I think, 12 kids. And
it's gone from there.
Blowing up.
Yeah, which is awesome. And I just want to mention too that Laura was originally going to be with us as a guest, but her husband's not well.
Yes.
And we just want to send out our best wishes and just thinking about you. And but we have Kim here, who's a huge part of the success of Grace Packs and tell us a little bit about you, what you do, and let's go ahead and talk about how you got involved in Grace Packs.
Okay. I'm a dance instructor, and I have lived in Port St. Lucie for 30 years. I actually went to Morningside Elementary myself, and then my daughter started going there. And when she began kindergarten, I knew that I wanted to volunteer and be involved in school, but I really wanted to do something meaningful that would make a difference for other students. And I was talking to the PTO head at the time, and she mentioned that there had been a little girl that she had seen in the hallway that morning, and she seemed kind of disheveled and disoriented, and she approached her and asked what was wrong, and she said she was hungry, and she was asked if she had breakfast, and she said no, and I didn't have dinner last night either. So the two of us were talking in the cafeteria, and we decided that we wanted to do something, and I went home, and about 2 days later there was an article in the paper, and I saw Laura's face on there, and it was all about Grace Packs at Oak Hammock, and I reached out to her, and she had me come to the school, and she let me tour the school, and she showed me the food pantry, she showed me the distribution and the packing process. She gave me so much information, and I brought it back to our principal, and we began that December 2012, and we started out with 12 students, and now we average about 50 students a week at Morningside.
Wow.
Yes.
And what's really amazing is, when we talked originally, it started at Oak Hammock, then went to Morningside. So we've gone from one site, now we have two, and now currently you have how many schools?
17.
Now we're at 17.
With more on the way.
With more on the way. We like that. We
Well,
like
I just
that.
contacted today from another elementary school, and
Right.
like I told you, I was writing it all down today. I mean, it's scary, you
Yeah,
know. I mean,
yeah.
we started at 1, and I was like, I have to write them down now because I can't
remember all of them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because it's Laura's dream to hit all 40 schools.
Yeah.
So
And it'll
we're
happen.
well on the way.
It'll happen. It'll happen. And especially with what the number you were at even last year and the few that you've added by next year when I see you again, I'm sure you're going to be right there. So for the viewers that aren't familiar with what Grace Packs is actually about, tell us what Grace Packs is and what's the purpose.
The purpose is to feed our hungry children that don't have enough to eat over the weekend. That they come to school hungry, like you said, over the weekend, and we just want to send home backpacks full of food to get them through the weekend, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and snacks to try to, get them through the weekend.
And I don't think sometimes that people in the community are really aware of how many kids are what we call food insecure. Yeah, and when we talk about that, share just a little bit about just the statistics overall in St. Lucie County, because I'm sure a lot of our viewers aren't even aware of the number of kids who have no food over the weekends, and oftentimes not even during the week. The food that they get at school is oftentimes all they
Their
get
only meal.
through the week. So can you share a little bit about that in relatively to statistics?
Well, right now, it's about 26.1, which translates to about 16,000 children just in St. Lucie County.
Right.
So that's a lot of children, and it makes me feel a little bit better. Like I said, it made me nervous adding up all these schools, and it comes out to like 850 Grace Packs a week that we're sending home, with these children, keep a little bit of food in their bellies over the weekend, which makes me, due
Right.
to Grace Packs, it makes me feel good. That 850, that's a lot.
That is. When you started off with one school site with just a
12.
handful of kids, and now look how many kids you're touching. And Kim, I know when we had talked, you have built up quite a partnership with several different community organizations that help supply a lot of the canned goods and different supplies like that. Share with us some of those different groups that are helping out at Morningside.
Absolutely. We are very fortunate to receive donations from the Elks Lodge, number 2658. I want to make sure I give them the proper credit.
There you go.
They will go and they will collect food at their meetings or collect money at their meetings, and then they will go and shop, and they will bring in 2 carts, like 2 flatbeds full of food for us. And they always make sure that the students have protein. They have tuna fish, they have ravioli, they have soup, they have juice, they have fruit cups and applesauce, canned vegetables, things that are important, because we also want to make sure that as much as they're dense foods that fill their bellies, we also want to make sure that they have nutrients and that it's healthy food too. We also have support from the Parrot Head Club. They have held a giant fundraiser for us, and they donate personally to Morningside. We also have a gentleman named Joe Sexton with the Browns backers, and he has a football club, and they get together, and then they'll collect money, and he will super coupon, and he will bring us 300 boxes of food of cereal. So for the past year and a half, every single week, every one of our children has taken home at least 1 box of cereal. At Christmas, it was 2. Over you know, when the schools were closed for hurricanes, they went home with 2 boxes of cereal.
How about
so we made
that?
sure that we kind of did an emergency distribution that week, because we wanted to make sure that they went home and had enough.
Because I was going to say, a lot of people probably didn't even think about that, you know, for those couple days that we were off school. A lot of our kids wouldn't be eating otherwise. So, wow, that's amazing. That's really cool. And Lisa, as you guys have worked with some of the other school sites, are there other partnerships that you guys have?
Oh, we get so much help from the community, from churches to the Elks Lodge, the Moose Lodge, organizations like that, churches.
You name it.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And one of the things I can remember Laura speaking to was they always noticed that on Mondays was always a tough day for kids, and they would notice that a lot of the clinics had, you know, twice the amount of kids coming in on Mondays, and a lot of it had to do with not eating over the weekend. So have they noticed a decrease in the visits? Have they been able to monitor any of that over the
We're speaking to some of the nurses, because I'm out in the field, I'll get the opportunity to talk to them, and they definitely see a decrease in students coming in on Monday morning.
Right.
And they can attribute it to having a little bit more food in their belly, you know? So.
Yeah, which is great. And you don't sometimes even attribute it that. It's just, you know, have you been home, miss mom, or something like that. But a lot of times it's because they haven't eaten through the weekend, and, you know, the stomach aches and the headaches, and, you know, we know what it's like to go a day, you know, maybe I ate in the morning, but I haven't eaten at night. Gosh, I have a headache. I'm not feeling real great. And these kids experience that on a daily basis. Of course. So sometimes we don't think about that. Well, of course, we're talking about the holidays. The holidays are coming up very, very soon, which is hard to believe we're even talking about it. But I wanted to really highlight Grace Packs, especially during the holidays, even though this is something that we support through the school year. But also during the holiday season, we want to really make it more observed, you know, where the community is more aware, especially now. How can people go about if they wanted to donate any type of supplies? How could they go about doing that?
They can go onto our website at gracepacks.org, and a lot of the schools have individual sponsors, like your instance, you know, with her school at Morningside. You can pick and choose a school, you know, an organization that's right next to Okamic. You know, they could sponsor that school.
Right. And who actually goes about filling the packs? Do you guys have volunteers that do that? How does that all work? Kim, maybe mention specifically how that works at Morningside, and then I'll have Lisa maybe talk about other sites as well.
At Morningside, it's been parent volunteers for the past 4 years, and every Friday we meet in the pantry. It's myself and 2 other moms usually, and we'll meet and we fill the bags, and then the students are called down at 2:45, and they come to the cafeteria and they get their bags, and then they're able to go home for the weekend. And recently, our teacher liaison, Miss Julie Moore, started on Wednesday mornings at 8 o'clock going over and doing a call to the teachers over the loudspeaker and saying, I'm going to be packing if anybody wants to come down and join me. So she said usually 5 or 6 teachers will come down, and 3 or 4 will pack, and 1 will sit down and write thank you notes to our donors, and the other one will break down our recycling and our cardboard and take out our trash. And then when we get there on Fridays, most of it's done for us. So we just actually put them into the bags. We use Publix the canvas bags. We find they're easier for the children to carry, and they come and they get their bags, and they're able to go about their weekend with a nice bag of food.
And that's some serious organization there.
It is.
You know, organizing all those little components. You don't realize how much time that really takes, even for those small little details that you have. And how wonderful that the teachers want to be a part of it.
Absolutely.
And so they're obviously seeing some major changes and improvements in their students, and of course we know that's got a direct effect on their achievement during the day with their learning. You know,
Absolutely.
you can't focus and
No.
you know, function well when you're hungry. You know, so what a difference that's making too, I'm sure, in their level of achievement. And Lisa, maybe speak to how that's done. Is it done similar at the other school sites? How
Each
does that work?
school, I think,
It's a
is
little
different.
unique.
Yeah. What we tell them what works for one doesn't work for the other. You know, they just have to find their niche and how to, you know, because every school is different. So, but you know, parent volunteers. We have ESE students that pack. We have the cafeteria that's staff that helps pack. A little bit of everybody.
And what's really neat too, every time I come out of my office at the district office, we have our boxes right there, right outside of our door, where people can actually donate. And I know the district always has a kind of a goal that we have. I think last year it was 1,000 pounds.
This year, we're
Are we going with
pushing
1,000?
for 2,000.
Ooh, we're doubling.
Yes,
Very cool.
yeah.
But every time I go out there, there's a little
And I'd
bit
like
more.
to put that out there that Jonathan Ruiz, I hope I said his name right, he's the art teacher over at Bayshore. His students decorated those boxes for me.
Oh,
Yeah, see, so everybody gets involved.
Yeah.
You know, they're giving back to the community, and it's nice.
and that's great that you're just pulling in other elements of the school district, which really pulls it all together. Well, I know we went over the district goal last year, if I remember right, so that 2,000 is going to be, we'll be sure to do that. And I think, isn't Ron Barr helping oversee that? I think he's one of our
It's
district
the
people.
district office events committee. I couldn't do it without them because we'll sit down, you know, when we're planning things for the district office, and they always want to incorporate Grace Packs, which makes me feel, you know, so good.
Yeah.
They're like, how can we help Grace Packs in doing this?
Yeah.
You know, when we had the district office holiday party last year, they charged a certain amount. Certain amount of that was donated to Grace Packs. You know, and Ron, you know, helps with the packing parties,
right.
and so we're excited to push 2,000 pounds
Yeah.
this year.
And
Yeah.
it just gets bigger and bigger, you know, it's spreading into
And we'll,
more,
we'll
including
distribute
more
it
people.
right before the holidays for Christmas, so they'll go home with a nice.
And in fact, that
bigger bag
was
of-
my next question. You know, when we're off during the holidays, how does that work? If we're off for multiple days, then how are those needs met for those kids?
We always pack extra.
Extra.
Yeah. Like I know Grace at Okamic, the sponsor, they come with boxes. They pack up like apple boxes, and the parents are notified that you have a Christmas box waiting at the cafeteria, you know, but they have to pick it up themselves because we can't send it home with the kids.
Right, right.
You know, so, and then we always send home extra food. You know, for Thanksgiving, make sure we have mashed potatoes, great things for the holiday meal.
Right. And how do the kids actually, how are they actually eligible or chosen as part of, what are the steps? If a parent, if someone is watching and they're maybe even knowing, oh gosh, you know, my neighbors are really in need, you know, where are their kids at school? Or it may be them themselves. For a student to be eligible, how would they go about?
As long as they qualify for free and reduced
Okay.
meals, they're nominated by their teachers or anybody that comes in contact with the student, the nurse, the cafeteria manager, because those are the first people that see the signs of food insecurity.
Right.
So we rely on word of mouth,
Right.
you know?
Right. And then as we're thinking about that as well, is there a way that you guys communicate the program, and maybe at the beginning of the school year? How do parents in the specific school sites find out about the program itself? Just kind of word of mouth, as you mentioned?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Miss Laura, she sends out email after email, you know, asking if she can come and speak at their staff meetings, and puts it out there, you know, explains the program, things like that.
Okay. And is there a website? I know you mentioned it a little bit. We really want to make sure that the viewers get it.
GracePacks.org.
gracepacks.org, and it gives you specific history. It gives you kind of an about us, background information, which is wonderful. It also, if I remember right, kind of gives a list of what things could be donated. If I
Yes.
remember that. Can maybe mention again some of the things that would really benefit being donated, what kind of things you're really looking for.
We're always in need of what we call kid-friendly food items. So basically anything that, if it is in a can, it needs to have a peel top. Things that the children can open easily, like juice pouches, fruit cups, single-serve macaroni and cheese, ravioli, tuna fish, things that are kind of dense. At Morningside, we found that the kids love those little Vienna sausages.
How about that?
And, they all like their own things.
Yeah.
Cans of soup that are easy to heat up.
Right.
For breakfast, they love oatmeal because it's very filling for their bellies.
Right.
We will do cereal bars and Yoo-hoos. They like those. And then we always try to put in a couple little treats. So,
That's nice.
Small granola bars, fruit pouches, the little fruit gummies. They like those. Capri Suns. Little bags of cookies, those 100-calorie pack of cookies, or Cheez-Its, peanut butter crackers, cheese and crackers, things of those nature that are non-perishable and are easy for the children to open.
Right, and we want to make sure that we really stress too that to look at the expiration date.
Absolutely.
We don't want to eat
And no
things
glass
that
jars.
And
no glass jars.
Yes.
Good point. Yeah, that wouldn't be so great
They'll
going
sit,
home
you
in the
know.
backpack.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
That's not-
We don't really think about that, but I know when we get ready to put our stuff in the boxes. One thing that I work with Mustard Seed as well sometimes during the holidays, and they always stress, please look at the expiration date. Don't give food to somebody that you wouldn't eat yourself.
Right.
But we really want to encourage the community to really get involved. This is such a great program, and
Thank you.
just so excited of how it's grown and the number of kids that you are touching, which is just amazing. And you said that you started out with about 12.
Yes.
And have gone up to as many as 50 now.
Yes.
And just when you see that could go across district from school to school.
Absolutely.
The number of kids that we can reach to really try to make a difference.
With me being out in the field, you really get to see the need that's out there, and it's scary. It really is.
Right.
I got a call from a guidance counselor that had a student at one Grace Pack school and went to another school that wasn't a Grace Pack school. And she had called me and said, this student, it makes you feel good how it really helped this student, because he is in dire need of this food. I mean, she said, can you please help him? So I go to another school and pack up Grace Packs for him every Friday, and I deliver it to the nurse at the other school, because he's just
in such need.
he's destitute. Yes.
And one thing I know we had talked about before too, this is done discreetly, not where, it's, going to embarrass the kids.
Right.
And that's so critical to, even as little guys, how important that is, and that it's something that makes them feel special, but done in a way that, their peers aren't looking
Right.
down on them or anything
And
like
that's so
that.
important to us.
Yeah.
Because we just actually started our first high school, and
Really?
I'm so excited.
Oh, I didn't know that.
At St. Lucie West Centennial High.
Very cool.
Yes, I always say big kids get hungry too.
Oh, yeah.
So I was very excited when we started the program there. I think this is their second week. So we're trying, like you said, to be discreet about it.
Right.
They're
Right.
high schoolers, and
even more,
Right.
that's so important, even more at that age.
yes.
Yeah,
So we're excited about that.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, I know by the time I see you the next time, it'll be in every school, and you never know. It may, by word of mouth, as Kim mentioned, it was something that you saw on TV or was it in the newspaper?
It was in the
Newspaper. Just in seeing it out there, and just, gosh, we could do this in our own district. So this could be statewide before you know it,
Oh,
which is.
I'm always teasing Laura. We need a warehouse.
Yeah.
So-
No, I mean that's something
That would be my
what an awesome,
dream.
oh yeah, what an
We just
awesome
have
goal.
so much food to distribute that Grace Packs needs a warehouse.
There you go.
Yes.
There you go. That's
One day
a
it'll
great goal.
happen.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I believe it. And just in the amount of time, in the short amount of time that it's grown to this level, before you know it, it could be in our surrounding areas across the state, and gosh, St. Lucie County is doing something amazing. We want
Yes,
to
ma'am.
we want to follow that same model, and what a great model to follow. So we appreciate your time, both of you, for all
Thank
you
you for
do.
having us.
Thank you.
Please let Laura know that we've missed her,
Yes,
and
ma'am.
just so appreciate the mission that you guys have just followed your heart, and made a difference in the lives of our kids every day. And thanks so much, Kim,
Thank you.
for being a parent and just seeing that as a mission yourself,
Oh,
and
thank
just
you.
watching the difference that you make at the kids at Morningside, and it's just going to get bigger and bigger. And we want to remind our viewers, please feel free to make those donations. Check out thegracepacks.org. Check that out, and you can find out. You can do a monetary donation. It can be a food donation. There are so many ways that you can get involved to make a difference in the life of a child, especially over the holidays, but also during the school year. And we want to really encourage you to do that and make a difference in your community. Thanks so much for being with us today, and we look forward to seeing you back next time on Notebook.